Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar on the new normal, parental engagement and technology. With me today is Ravi Gurur, the founder and CEO of ZippSlip. We will start with a few slides to introduce you to what we see as the new normal and the parental engagement, and then transition to a quick tour of the product. This session should take no longer than about 30 minutes. So let's get started. When we speak to educators today, the basic needs of their students is still front and center. Many schools are still struggling with their distance learning efforts as still others seem to be cobbling together applications to solve their immediate needs. And we have found that along with all the energies expended over distance learning, parents oftentimes feel left out. Many are unsure exactly what this new thing is that we call distance learning, while others keep wondering what the lesson plan is for the week, or what does distance learning expect of me, or simply how can I help? This kind of two-way communications between school and parents is often very difficult. Sure, we understand there's always the one-off email that's simple and sweet, but what if you want to engage multiple select parents or all the parents in the school? That really becomes more of a challenge. The value proposition that we deliver on is that we are 100% electronic and therefore virus-free in this day and time. That is extremely important. And in addition to being safe, we also save money. No more paper, printing, collating, and distribution costs. We will show you how we can save all of those costs and more by consolidating all the disparate applications you may have into one comprehensive platform where everyone knows where to go for information. So what is ZippSlip? ZippSlip really is a communications platform designed for the K through 12 community that easily connects parents, students, and schools. It doesn't matter whether it's text, voice, email, or SMS. We transform communications with our electronic forms and workflow capability. We are an inclusive application, which is what we're hearing from schools a lot about inclusivity. We are a very inclusive application with our multilingual capabilities, so no one's left out. And the fact that they can access ZippSlip on many platforms, including smartphones, regular cell phones, and emergency notifications, even through landlines, we are inclusive. And our integration with your SIS means these communications are sent with just a click of a mouse. ZippSlip is diverse and impactful for our schools and families. In this era of COVID-19, the need for paperless communications is more important than ever. So if you are considering paperless registration for your student body this year, hey, look no further. Our integration with your SIS makes this re-registration a breeze. And ZippSlip's capabilities don't stop there. We're great for permission slips, athletic signups, health and medical forms, and electronic newsletters. Anything that can connect your community. And we are that one place that everyone knows to go to for information. I know many of you may have websites, do Twitter feeds, Facebook accounts, that can be very confusing for people to know where to go for any particular piece of information. With ZippSlip, we give you that one hub so that the community knows where to go to be up to date. And our communications platform is comprehensive, easy to use, fun to use, and even cost effective. Many schools use multiple apps for parental notification, which we found can be confusing and expensive, as I talked about earlier. Additionally, paper printing, collating, distribution, along with the potential of germ transmission, is not only costly, but potentially dangerous. So we have saved schools and districts hundreds to thousands of dollars each year, all while increasing their engagement to their students and families. And deployment is fast and easy, typically within 1 to 2 hours. And our support, second to none. You'll hear from our customers that love our support. We create all your forms for the life of the contract. And again, integration with your SIS makes all these communications very simple. And our app, which can be downloaded from the App Store, makes it easy and fun for parents and students to receive the important information throughout the year. So what we're going to do is take a look at a couple of use cases utilizing ZippSlip, where it's a principal communicating with an entire school, a teacher to maybe all the parents in one classroom, and we'll take a look forward to the new normal, which we call mobile student registration. So without further ado, I will turn it over to you, Ravi.
Thank you, Shelley. Let's see, I need to become the presenter. Okay, can you see my screen?
I can.
Great. All right, so what I'm showing you right now is the dashboard for an administrator at a school. This is demonstration data, but it's on the live system, so you're actually seeing how ZippSlip works. I'm just going to give you a quick tour first to give you a grounding on how the whole thing works. As Shelley mentioned, we can communicate with parents in a number of ways. There's actually 3 categories of communications we support. One is everything to do with forms. So that can be things like re-registration, the beginning of the year packet, field trip forms, athletic signups, anywhere that you need some information back from the parents, or answers back from the parents, as well as signatures, you can use this button. Also, we can transact payments. I'll show you some examples of that in a few minutes. Second category is what we call zipgrams. These are electronic newsletters. You can send out videos, pictures, polls, some really cool ways to engage the community with all the fun stuff that's going on in school. The third is messages. So these are text or email or push notifications, as well as recorded voice. And they can be sent to anyone in the community. It could be anyone within the community. It could be like a classroom of parents. It could be a grade level of parents. It could also be an individual parent. And in fact, we do support student communications as well, although today we're going to focus on parental engagements. Anything that you send out, you'll be able to track. So on the right side here, on these various items, you'll see statistics on the engagement and responses from parents. So in this case, this registration example, 351 responses out of 427 in the school. Easy to see in one snapshot. I'm going to show you more details on that in a few minutes, but right now I'm going to jump over to the parent app. Parents can access the system through a browser or through one of our apps, the Android app or iOS app. they see the communications that you sent out that's relevant for their child. They can have multiple children going to the school or the school district. There could be multiple administrators or teachers sending them information, and they're going to see what they need to see based on whether the child is involved in that activity or that message. So everything is kept organized for the parent, and it's easy for the teachers and administrators to send information and track information that they've sent. This dashboard is showing you a few things. First, there's a message around severe weather. So in fact, we can send out mass notifications that could be important or emergency notifications. And this, of course, is a message that's showing up on the app, but we can also send out a text message or recorded voice. Below that are examples of forms activities. A re-registration, which I'll show you in a second, field trip, and then another agreement on distance learning. All examples of forms and payments. The third is the ZipGrams, which are the electronic newsletters. These are more sort of around engagement for the parents. And in fact, you can send out videos and polls. So if I click on this, you're going to see information that was sent by the teacher and the video. And then below that, a poll, which I can then submit. And I can even send back a private note like that. And, very easy for the parent to interact. And this one's on summer reading. This one's on tornadoes. The teacher sent the parents. And this one's something around concussions in sports. So all of those are meant to inform the parent, engage the parent, and of course the teachers, administrators, other staff will be able to track what's going on. All right, let's show you another example. I'll start with a field trip. This is an example of a form. This would go to potentially a grade level that's involved in the field trip, or maybe just an individual classroom. In this case, since it's an event like a field trip, it's going to tell you when, where, the description, and the teacher or the administrator can send out maps and other helpful information. So it's not a simple field trip form. But putting together something like this just takes minutes. It's just drag and drop. It's like sending an email almost. But you can provide some rich content to the parents that are involved. If there's fees to be paid, you can also include those, and they'll show up here as a summary. And the parent, to respond, simply clicks that button. Now they're taken to a form. But ZippSlip forms are very simple and sophisticated. Sophisticated in the sense that they're actually templates. You do not need to create a form for every activity. We can use a template, create a template which can be reused for multiple field trips, for example. And the reason we can do that is that with templates, we can essentially insert information that's relevant for the particular student, the family, or the activity. So in this case, you see the student name, student ID, grade level, the school, and also even more details like I.K. Aguilar, that's the name of the parent. All of that is automatically inserted by ZippSlip. If there's questions and answers, the parent can choose to enter those here. They can review what was answered before or what we already know from your student information system, and essentially review and then electronically sign. At the bottom is this signature that we use. It's a PIN code signature. It's more secure than an analog signature because obviously an analog signature, any student can forge that if they have the login password, or if the browser happens to be open or the app happens to be open, they could easily forge an analog signature. A PIN code is not so easy. It's a secret code the parent would pick. It's 4 to 6 digits, different than the login password, by the way. So after I complete the form and sign, I click next, and now we're in the final step. This can include the ability for the parent to send back a private note to the administrator. So in this case, it's saying my student's allergic to peanuts. Parents quite often are concerned about things like that. That's what they want to tell that to the staff or the teacher. So they'll typically enter information like that. If there's payments, that'll show up here. And in fact, you can have multiple payment items, optional payments, lots of features there. And then you can choose the mode of payment. In fact, you can allow only credit cards or only cash. It's up to you. Once I finish, the information is now sent back to the administrator, and that's pretty much all the parent has to do. It's very easy. Shelley mentioned registration, so let's talk about that as an example. We do districts, we do registration for districts across the country, and we see a wide variety of beginning of the year packets or re-registration packets or kindergarten roundup. All of those things we support. And those include multiple forms typically. Quite often they'll include attachments. So student code of conduct as an attachment. But we've seen 10, 15, 20 attachments or 10 forms or 15 forms or 20 forms all packaged up in a packet. All of that can be done electronically. And in fact, in ZippSlip. And in fact, if you need the parents to respond back to you with an upload of some digital document, for example, proof of residency, they can take a picture of that and upload it back as well. But a registration packet, a simple one, is here in this demo. This includes a single attachment right there, and I click that button to start the process. And this is an example of a registration form which is longer than the field trip form, but you can see how easy it is even on the app, ZippSlip app. And we try to make everything mobile friendly. Everything also is multiple languages. Forms can be delivered in multiple languages, and the parent is going to see the language they prefer for all of the communications, actually. But in this case, the parent simply reviews the form. They can make corrections. The data would come with our integration with your SIS. So we would pull the data from the SIS to pre-populate a form like this. And this is an example of a second form. This is a medical form. We're a HIPAA compliant system, lots of sensitive information being exchanged, and that's done very securely through ZippSlip. I'm going to sign the form just as before, and in the final step, there's a private note. We've kept this one simple for demonstration purposes, but it can include an upload at the end, as I mentioned. It can even include payments if you want, but there's no limit to the number of forms, attachments, and the like. Okay, at the very top is an example of a message. Now I'm going to switch over to the administrator side, and let's go to the right browser. Here we go. So this is actually this I have to have logged into a different school, but you saw this previously, and we have the three types of communications. I can show you more details on each particular responses. So this happens to be a field trip, and if I click this, I'm going to see details of the responses for the field trip. And let's give it a second here because the browser, my internet is sometimes slow. The summary at the top of the detail page shows you all the payment information that was collected, and there's various other features here to print, export, and the like. Send emails to parents. So in fact, the send emails is another communications feature embedded in this activity. Here I can send it to the particular parents involved in the activity. For example, parents who've only the parents who've said yes. Maybe you want to send them an email saying, "Hey, the weather's bad. Please make sure to have the kids make sure the kids are dressed right." So those kinds of communications features are sort of embedded throughout ZippSlip. All of the responses, you can easily view it. You can easily search for it. I can look for a particular response. So this is Lauren Apple, which is a student. I can view her forms, the forms the parents sent. Very easy to use. And this is telling you who signed it, what time. All of that's done automatically. Of course, all the answers are here in the form itself. You can also see who's not going on the field trip by just clicking this. Who's not responded by clicking that. Who's responded with notes. So we give you easy ways to view the information that comes back. So let's say you wanted to send a message to maybe, let's start with a classroom. Okay, no problem. I'm going to click create a message. Now remember, a message is basically a text, push, email, recorded voice. I will first figure out what I want to send. Well, let's assume it's I'll create a new message. I can copy an old message, but let me create a new message. Science homework is due tomorrow. I'm going to pick, of course, parents. I can send messages to staff. I'll leave it as normal priority. And that's the name of the title of the message. This is the actual text or push message. I can make it a little longer. And then if I choose to, I can add a text-to-speech option. Science homework is due tomorrow. Let's make it in English and Spanish, like that. Because maybe some parents don't have internet at home. So you can choose to dial their phone directly using text-to-speech. So they're going to hear the recorded announcement from you, the teacher, or it could be the principal, whatever the case might be. But this is what we mean by broad access. You have the ability to send text, email, recorded voice, push, and that'll cater to what the parent has. And of course, just to repeat myself, this is automatically done for you in multiple languages. So the English and Spanish, for example, is a way to sort of show you that.
Science homework is due tomorrow.
That's the English recording.
La tarea de ciencias debe entregarse mañana.
That's the Spanish recording. Now, the other thing I'll say is that it's not the system will not necessarily send text and voice calls at the same time to the end user. The parents can actually pick their preferred method of being notified. So they can say, "Look, I don't want text. I only want phone calls," or vice versa, or maybe only emails. So they have that choice. But if you selected the emergency option up here, they're going to hear it in every which way you want to send it. So they don't have that option for emergency. Once I'm finished with the message, I can then choose who this is going to go to. So this is one of the very interesting, powerful parts of the system. We will create the contact database for you from your SIS. Now we're going to get more information from the parents as well. So we're going to actually have probably more information than your SIS, at least initially, because we can push the information back to the SIS as well. But we'll be able to create groups for you automatically that allows you to reach every family in the school. That's the all family, or every parent of every student, or a particular classroom. So this is Allison Smith. And then I can actually drill down a little bit and see there's different students. I can deselect individual students from this list. So there's convenience features like that to specifically send messages to, maybe a grade level, maybe a classroom, maybe just an individual. In fact, I'll show you the individual student in a second, or parent. But if I keep scrolling, I'm going to see the different groups that are there. And in fact, here's a grade 1 group, grade 2 group. All of these groups are created for you automatically. Now, what if I wanted to send it not to an entire classroom, maybe just a couple of parents of a couple of students, because maybe they didn't hand the homework already. No problem. So I'll look for one student. Oh, did I spell that wrong? Oh, I'm in the wrong group. Sorry. Let's see if I get the right one. Well, I may have picked the wrong account, but anyway, I selected one student. I'm going to click next. I'm going to click send now. And at this point, the message is sent to the parent of that student, and they're going to see it on the app. And in fact, it's going to be on your dashboard as well, but they're going to see it on the app that's delivered right here. I should have picked this particular user. I'd forgotten that it logged into the different school. But basically, it's an active system. That way, you'll be able to see messages being sent. You'll be able to track messages on the dashboard, just like this. And you have the choice of different ways to communicate, whether it's text, email, voice, and so on. How do you send a video message? No problem. You click the create button. You can copy an old one. This is called a zipgram, as I mentioned earlier, but you can create a new one as well. So here, you simply drop in a video by clicking the video button. You can drop in a poll, and you have the choice of attaching a video from YouTube or your own video. You can upload your own video on your Mac, on your smartphone. Attaching a poll is very easy. The question is here. Answers are here. I went backwards. Answer 1, answer 2. And simple two answer poll. And then you can go to the next step. I have to name my zipgram here. You can even schedule this to be done later. So I can say click this and schedule it to be sent later. So there's a lot of features like that built in. But if I go to the next step, I can then choose who this is going to go to. Again, it could be every family in the school. It could be a particular grade level or classroom, or it could be an individual, parent or set of parents. I can select multiple parents like that. So it's very easy to do that. You can choose, exactly who you want particular communications to go to. So Shelley, I'm going to stop there. I can show examples of forms. Do we have any questions from the audience? Because we're coming up on 30 minutes, so I don't want to go over that.
Yeah, we just have a couple of questions, Ravi. Let me see here. We use SurveyMonkey. Can you do surveys?
Yes, survey for us is really nothing more than a simple form, questions with multiple choice answers typically. It could also include text and so on. Now, when you send out something like a survey, you're going to be interested in what the results look like. So we give you helpful tools to look at the answers coming back. As I mentioned earlier, you can export everything to Excel, you can print it to PDF, but you can also view the information through our statistics feature, and this might be particularly useful for surveys. So this one is a field trip form, but the same would apply to a survey. This particular form is asking, if the student returns, if the trip returns after regular hours, is somebody other than the parent going to pick up the student? And in fact, 5 here. So you can get the answers directly from the system. And that applies to every question in the survey form or whatever form you send out. The system will automatically chart the answers for you, and you'll be able to view that very quickly.
Great. One other question came in. Your system seems to handle paperwork for the parents pretty well, but can you also handle our internal administrative paperwork like substitute teacher requests, maintenance requests, something like that?
Indeed, we do support that. There's a module internally, or a module called internal forms, and that allows you to distribute forms to the staff. That could be something like new employee forms, where every employee needs to fill it out at the beginning of the year, very much like, well, it could be, I guess, through the year. But it could be a set of HR forms also that needs to be handled at the beginning of the year. And then there could be a set of forms that are used through the year, but in particular forms that are submitted by individuals. So maybe a field trip request, a substitute request, other kinds of forms like that. To do that, the teacher or the administrator simply clicks this new submission button, and they'll pick the forms that are available there. So here, it's a substitute request. If I click that, it's going to take me through a couple of steps to enter the form. And I can, in this case, enter the date that I'd like a substitute, and start and end date, and the reason for this for the substitution, personal leave, let's say. This is a very simple form, obviously, but notice also we're pre-filling information like the name of the teacher and so on. And then in the final step, there's simply the ability to send a note that's tagged, that's attached to this particular submission. Now, when you submit a form like this, as you know, if you're an educator, there's multiple steps that typically forms go through, multiple approvers, and they're typically roles-based approvers. So something like a substitute request might go through a couple of people in the school, but you may have more elaborate forms like, maybe a field trip form or something like that, a field trip request, where it goes through people handling the school bus people, the principal, of course, to provide approval, maybe somebody at the district level. So those kinds of more complicated workflows are handled very easily with our internal workflow or internal form support. And you can track the progress of the submission you just did by hovering your mouse over, and it'll tell you the different steps it's going through and also who is supposed to sign it. And the notes are a part of the whole package. So you'll be able to track the notes that are included or added as it progresses through the workflow. Okay?
Great. And we have one other question. Can this platform be integrated or communicate with PowerSchool?
Yes, we have a plugin for PowerSchool actually, and that allows us to pull not only roster data, but other contact information for parents. And we can also push data back to PowerSchool with that plugin.
Right. Thank you.
And we support for other listeners, we support a wide variety of student information systems. So, if you're interested, please let us know.
Great. Well, thank you, Ravi. I'm going to show my screen real quick. ZippSlip is free right now until August 15th. We understand that you all are getting ready for registration and the new year, and we want to make it easy and painless to get started. So we are free until August 15th. And if you are interested in getting more information, my name, Shelley Rose, and my phone number and email is right on the screen. So feel free to reach out to me. So with that, I thank you, Ravi, and I thank you all for attending, and we will close it out. Be safe, be well. All the best.
Thank you.